This is a Reddit story about my toxic stepmom and the family revenge that left everyone speechless. 5 years of therapy sessions, 3 family members who still won't speak to me, and one dinner that changed everything. The dinner where I placed a manila folder on the table and watched my stepmom's face drain of color as she realized what was inside. You're probably thinking, what could possibly be in a folder that would destroy a family? Hold that thought, because by the end of this story, you'll understand why sometimes the truth is more devastating than any lie. My name doesn't matter. What matters is that for 6 years, I lived with a woman who made it her personal mission to make me feel worthless. My toxic stepmom didn't hit me, didn't scream. She was far more sophisticated than that. She dismantled me with smiles and whispers and carefully timed comments that made everyone else laugh while I died inside. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to where this really began. I was 12 when my dad introduced me to Patricia. Not Patty, not Pat, Patricia. She insisted on the full name, said it gave her presence. What she really meant was power. My mom had died 2 years earlier, cancer, the kind that takes its time, and Dad was lonely. I get that now. Back then, I just felt betrayed. Patricia was beautiful in that calculated way, perfect highlights, perfect nails, the kind of woman who wore heels to the grocery store and somehow made you feel underdressed for existing. She taught high school English at a private academy across town, which meant she knew exactly how to use words as weapons. The first year was fine. She was polite, brought me books, asked about school. Dad seemed happy, and I convinced myself that maybe this could work. The mask came off the day they got married. I remember standing in my room that evening, still in my bridesmaid dress, pale pink, her choice, not mine, and hearing her voice through the heating vent. My room was directly above the kitchen, and sound traveled like secrets through old pipes. Now that it's official, she was saying to my dad, we need to discuss some boundaries with Emma. Emma, that's me. And the way she said my name, like I was a problem to be solved. What kind of boundaries? Dad asked. I could hear the confusion in his voice. She's become quite comfortable, hasn't she? Leaving her things everywhere, eating whatever she wants. I think it's time she learned about respect and responsibility in this household. I waited for Dad to defend me, to say that this was my house too, that I'd lived here my entire life. Instead, he said, you're right, we should set some structure. That's when I felt it, that first pulse of betrayal, not in my wrist, but deeper, throbbing dully in my teeth, like a warning I didn't yet understand. Patricia was a master at making reasonable requests sound like love, and my father, desperate to keep his new wife happy, would agree to anything. The rules started small. Clean your room before breakfast, do homework at the kitchen table, be in bed by 9, ask permission before using the computer. Normal parenting stuff, right? Except Patricia enforced these rules only when Dad wasn't home, and she added her own special touches. When Dad came home, everything was perfect. Patricia would be making dinner, humming, asking about his day. I'd be doing homework at the table, quiet. He'd look at both of us and smile, convinced he'd made the right choice. If I tried to complain, Patricia would tilt her head with that concerned expression she'd perfected. Sweetheart, I know adjusting is hard, but these rules are for your benefit. I'm just trying to help you become responsible. And Dad would nod. Your stepmom is right. We all need to make an effort here. See how that works? She wasn't being cruel. She was being helpful. and I was the ungrateful stepdaughter who couldn't appreciate her sacrifices. By the time I turned 15, I'd learned to be invisible, do everything perfectly, never give her ammunition. It worked mostly, but Patricia was creative. The comments at family dinners were her specialty. Emma got a B in English this semester. Can you believe it? With an English teacher for a stepmom. I try to help, but she'd trail off with a sigh, letting everyone draw their own conclusions. Or this one. I bought Emma the most beautiful dress for the school dance. She said she hated it. Teenagers, right? Everyone would laugh. And I'd sit there knowing that the dress was 2 sizes too small and covered in ruffles that made me look ridiculous. She'd bought it deliberately. Dad never noticed. Or maybe he did, and chose to ignore it, because acknowledging the truth would mean admitting he'd married someone who tormented his daughter for sport. High school was my escape. I threw myself into debate club, drama, anything that kept me away from home. College applications became my obsession. I researched schools across the country, full rides, scholarships, anything to get out. I didn't care where, just far. Patricia noticed. State University has a wonderful program, she'd say at dinner, and it's only 30 minutes away. You could stay home, save money. We'd love to have you here. The smile when she said it. The unspoken message humming beneath her words. I'm not done with you yet. I applied to 15 schools, got accepted to 12, chose the one in Oregon, 3,000 miles away. Dad was hurt. Why so far, Em? Patricia put on her most understanding face. It's natural for young people to want independence, honey, even if it breaks their parents' hearts. That's what she did. Positioned my escape as betrayal, made my survival look like cruelty. College was freedom, real freedom. My first day of Psych 101, the professor wrote one word on the board. Gaslighting. I felt my hands go numb. My notebook slipped an inch across the desk before I caught it. For the next hour, she described, in clinical academic language, everything Patricia had done to me for 6 years. The isolation, the reality distortion, the way abusers make their victims doubt their own sanity. When class ended, I sat there until the room emptied. Then I went to the bathroom and cried for 20 minutes, finally understanding that I wasn't crazy. I'd never been crazy. I started seeing the campus therapist. Dr. Martinez helped me see the patterns. She makes you doubt yourself, she explained. That's intentional. It's how abusers maintain control long after their victims have physically left. I started keeping a journal, writing down every interaction from holiday visits. Seeing the patterns in black and white made them impossible to deny. I went home twice a year, Christmas and Thanksgiving. Each visit, I told myself I was fine. I was an adult now. She couldn't hurt me anymore. I was wrong. Patricia had evolved. You look tired, Emma. Are you eating enough? I worry about you out there alone. Or my personal favorite. Your dad misses you so much. It's hard on him, you being so far away. But I suppose your education is more important than family. The guilt was a slow poison. I'd returned to Oregon feeling like a terrible daughter. And then came the invitation to last year's Thanksgiving dinner. Patricia called me personally. Emma, darling, I wanted to invite you to Thanksgiving this year. It's been too long since we've all been together. Your dad would be so happy. Something in her tone made my stomach tighten. Who else is coming? Oh, the usual. Linda and Tom. Dad's brother Rick. And I thought it would be nice to invite your grandmother too. She's been asking about you. My grandmother, who I hadn't seen in 3 years because Patricia had systematically cut her out of family events. Gram's coming. Yes, I thought it was time to rebuild some bridges. Family is so important, don't you think? I said yes. And then I started planning. Here's what you need to understand. Patricia had spent years crafting a narrative. In her version, I was the troubled stepdaughter, angry, resentful, difficult. She'd told this story so many times that everyone believed it. Patricia controlled the narrative because she controlled access. She decided who got invited to what, who heard which version of events. She was brilliant at it, but she had made one critical mistake. She'd invited my grandmother, and my grandmother had something Patricia didn't know about, a box of letters. My mom, before she died, had written letters to me, to my grandmother, and in one letter, dated 3 months before my mom died, she'd written something specific. I'm worried about Emma when I'm gone. She's so young. James will need help, and whoever he finds, please watch over her. Make sure Emma doesn't lose herself. Make sure she knows she's loved. Make sure no one makes her feel like she doesn't belong in her own home. My grandmother had read that letter after I'd stopped coming to family events, and she'd started asking questions, comparing notes with Dad's brother Rick. She'd collected evidence, text messages, emails, a pattern of isolation. When I called her after Patricia's invitation, Graham was suspicious. Why now? I don't know, but I think it's time everyone knew the truth. What do you need from me? Just be there and bring Mom's letters. There was a long pause, then quiet as a prayer. It's time, isn't it? Yeah, Graham, it's time. I flew home 3 days before Thanksgiving, rented a car, stayed at a hotel, claiming I needed privacy for work calls. Patricia seemed pleased that I wasn't staying with them. Of course, dear, whatever makes you comfortable. I spent those 3 days preparing. I'd brought copies of my therapy notes, 6 years of documented emotional abuse, text messages, emails, a timeline of every major incident. And I had something else. Linda's daughter. Sophia was 17, and for the past 2 years, she'd been experiencing the same treatment I had. I discovered this by accident. Sophia had found me on Instagram 6 months earlier. Is it true what Aunt Patricia says about you? That you hate the family? We'd started talking. Slowly, she started sharing her experiences. The comments about her weight. The way Patricia made her feel stupid. She does the same thing to me, Sophia had written, but Mom doesn't see it. I'd been coaching Sophia for months, teaching her to document everything, not for revenge, for protection. Now, the night before Thanksgiving, I called her. Are you ready for tomorrow? I'm scared. What if they don't believe us? They will, because this time, it won't be her word against ours. This time, we have evidence. All you have to do, I said softly, is tell the truth when I give you the signal. Can you do that? Yeah, she whispered. I can do that. Thanksgiving Day. I arrived at the house at 2 p.m., exactly on time. Patricia answered the door in a perfect hostess outfit, cream cashmere sweater, pearls. Emma, you look wonderful. Come in. The house smelled like turkey and lies. Everyone was already there. Dad in the kitchen, Linda setting the table, Tom watching football, Rick nursing a whiskey, and Graham sitting in the corner chair, the box of letters on her lap. Patricia noticed the box. What's that, Dorothy? Just some old family photos, Graham said smoothly. Thought it would be nice to reminisce. Sophia arrived 20 minutes later. She caught my eye across the room. I nodded. We ate dinner first. Patricia had outdone herself. Turkey, stuffing, 3 kinds of pie. She played the perfect hostess. When she got to me, her smile was particularly bright. And Emma, how's Oregon? Still loving it out there? It's good. Peaceful. Peaceful. She repeated the word like it meant something else. That's wonderful. Though your dad mentioned you haven't visited much this year, there it was. The opening shot. I set down my fork. Actually, Patricia, that's something I wanted to talk about. Dad looked up. Is everything okay? Not really, Dad. I need to tell everyone something. Something I should have said a long time ago. Patricia's smile didn't waver. Is this really the time? We're having such a lovely dinner. It's exactly the time. I pulled out my phone. For the past 8 years, I've let everyone believe that I'm the problem in this family, the angry stepdaughter. And Patricia has been very good at making sure that's the story everyone knows. Emma, Dad started. I held up my hand. Please, let me finish. Patricia, do you remember November 2018 when I was 15? You made me stand in the corner for 40 minutes because I'd left a textbook on the coffee table. I was teaching you responsibility. In January 2019, you told Aunt Linda that I'd said her cooking was disgusting. I never said that. You made it up. Linda frowned. Emma, I have text messages, Aunt Linda, between me and Sophia, where she tells me that Patricia told you the same lie about her last month. Sophia's head snapped up. Linda turned to her. What? It's true, Mum, Sophia said quietly. Aunt Patty said, I told her your pot roast tasted like cardboard. I never said that. I loved it. Patricia laughed, but it was strained. This is ridiculous. You're both being dramatic. May 2020, I continued. You convinced Dad to cancel my flight home for Christmas. Told him I'd called you crying, that I was too stressed with school. I never called you. I spent Christmas alone in my dorm, because by the time I found out, all the flights were booked. Dad's face went pale. Patricia, is that true? I was trying to protect her. I have the phone records, Dad. I never called her that week. I pulled out the manila folder. This contains 8 years of documentation. Text messages, emails from my therapist, statements from 3 of my high school teachers who witnessed her behavior. I spread the papers across the table like evidence at a trial. Patricia stood up. This is insane. I have done nothing but try to be a good mother to you. You're not my mother. The words exploded out of me. My mother died when I was 10, and you spent the next 8 years making sure I knew that I didn't matter, that I was a burden, that everything I did was wrong. The room was silent. Gram stood up. She walked over to Patricia, that box of letters in her hands. Do you want to know what Emma's mother wrote before she died? She opened the box. The smell of cedar filled the room. She pulled out a letter. She wrote, please make sure Emma doesn't lose herself. Make sure no one makes her feel like she doesn't belong. Gram read the whole letter. When she finished, she looked at Patricia. You did exactly what my daughter-in-law feared. You made this child feel like she didn't belong in her own home. Dad was crying now. I didn't know. I swear. I know, Dad. That's what makes her so good at it. She only does it when no one's watching. Rick spoke up. I saw it once, at the grocery store 3 years ago. Patricia was not kind, but when she saw me, everything changed. It was like watching someone put on a mask. You didn't imagine it, I said. That's her pattern. Sweet in public, cruel in private. Patricia's mask finally cracked. You ungrateful little... She stopped herself. I have given you everything, and this is how you repay me. They're not lies, Sophia said. She was crying now. She does the same things to me, Mom, all the time. She tells me I'm getting fat. She compares me to her students. She makes me feel stupid and worthless. Linda's face went white. Sophia, why didn't you? Because she's good at this, Mom. Every time I tried to tell you, she'd make it sound like she was just being honest because she loved me. I looked at Patricia. You need help. This isn't normal. You've spent years tearing down two teenage girls. Why? Get out, Patricia said quietly. What? Get out. She was screaming now. Get out of my house. It's not your house, Dad said quietly. Everyone turned to him. It's not your house, Patricia. It's mine. And Emma's. And you made my daughter feel like she didn't belong in the house where she was born, where her mother died. And his voice broke. I failed her. I walked over to him, put my hand on his shoulder. Dad, it's okay. I don't blame you. She's manipulative. That's what she does. But I should have seen it. I should have protected you. You can protect me now, I said softly, by believing me. He looked at Patricia. I think you should pack a bag. Stay somewhere else for a while. You're choosing her over me. What have you done, Patricia? Specifically? Graham's voice was steel. Because from where I'm sitting, you've isolated this family and tortured two children. Patricia grabbed her purse so hard, the strap broke. For a second, everything stopped. Lipstick, keys, breath mints scattered across the floor. She stared at them like they were pieces of her perfect life. Shattered. Her silk belt caught on the chair as she turned to leave, jerking her backward for a humiliating half-second before she yanked it free. Then she stepped over the scattered contents and walked out. The door slammed. The lipstick rolled under the couch. No one moved to pick it up. We sat there for a long time. No one knew what to say. Rick poured everyone bourbon. We drank in silence. Eventually, we started talking, really talking. Sophia shared more stories. Linda apologized. Dad asked questions, learning for the first time what had really been happening. Why didn't you tell me? He asked finally. I tried, Dad. Remember when I was 13? I came to you crying about Patricia making me write essays as punishment. You said she was just trying to help me with my writing. He closed his eyes. I remember. Every time I tried to tell you, she'd reframe it. And you wanted to believe her. I'm so sorry, Em. We hugged, both of us crying, trying to bridge 8 years of manipulation. So here's where we are now. It's been 11 months since that Thanksgiving dinner. Dad and Patricia are divorced. She fought it, but in the end, she just left. Moved to another state. Maybe she's doing it to someone else now. I don't know. Dad's in therapy. We're in family counseling together. It's hard, but we're trying. Sophia's doing better. Seeing a therapist too. We talk regularly. My grandmother moved in with Dad. She says it's because he needs looking after. Linda doesn't speak to Patricia anymore. As for me, I'm still in Oregon, still in therapy. Some days are harder than others, but I'm free. That's what matters. Here's what I've learned. Abuse doesn't always leave bruises. Sometimes it's subtle, disguised as love or discipline. And the most dangerous abusers are the ones who convince everyone they're the good guys. Patricia never hit me, but she spent 8 years trying to convince me I was worthless. The hardest part? Even now, sometimes I wonder if I overreacted. That's what gaslighting does. It makes you doubt yourself long after the abuser is gone. But then I look at my notes, at Sophia's experiences that mirrored mine exactly. And I know the truth, but here's what keeps me awake at night. 3 months after that dinner, Patricia attempted suicide. She's okay now, in therapy, rebuilding her life. But when I heard, I had this moment of uncertainty. She needed help. Professional help she'd probably needed for years. And instead of intervention, I gave her public humiliation. Did that help her? Or did I just transfer the trauma from me to her? I could have sent the evidence to Dad privately, let him handle it behind closed doors. Would that have been kinder? Or would Patricia have convinced him I'd fabricated everything? Would Sophia have suffered alone for years longer? I'll never know, because that's not the choice I made. So, jury, here's my question. Was I justified in exposing Patricia at that family dinner, in front of everyone, in destroying my dad's marriage, or was I unfair? Should I have handled it differently? 3 family members still won't speak to me. They think I'm a liar who destroyed a good woman's life. And my dad, he loves me, he apologizes, but sometimes I see doubt in his eyes. The truth is, exposing someone publicly is brutal. It's humiliating, even when they deserve it. What if I'd tried family therapy first? What if I'd sat down with Dad privately? Would that have worked? Or would Patricia have isolated him further? Would Sophia have suffered alone? I don't know. I'll never know. Because I chose the nuclear option. And now everyone has to live with the fallout. So what's the verdict? Was I justified? Was I unfair? Did I save myself? Or did I just create more casualties? I could tell you what I think, but the moment I do, this case closes in your mind. If I leave it open, you'll carry these questions with you. You'll think about that manila folder while having dinner with your own family. You'll argue with friends about whether public confrontation is justified. You'll come back to this story. The truth is, the most important questions don't have clean answers. They have consequences. And those consequences keep teaching us. So here's my verdict. There is no verdict. Only questions that get more complex the longer you think about them. Jury, leave your verdict below. Type verdict justified or verdict unfair. Because maybe your perspective will help me understand my own choice. Maybe it will help someone else facing a similar situation. Subscribe to join the jury. Tomorrow, another case awaits your judgment. Another story where someone had to make an impossible choice. Because that's the real question, isn't it? Not whether I was right or wrong, but what you would do. What will you choose?